Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon for the live webinar on Fundamental Neuroscience, one of the specializations of the Research Master in Cognitive and Clinical Neuroscience. Today we will give you some more insights into this program, looking into the program outline, career perspectives, but also admission requirements. And the best part of it is you can decide on the topics that we discuss. You can just post your questions in the comment section on Facebook and we will pick them up and answer them live. As you can see, I'm not alone here today. I asked two of my colleagues to join me to share the information they know about the program, and I would like to ask them to introduce themselves. Jos.
Yeah, hello, my name is Jos Prikkaerts. I'm the coordinator of Fundamental Neuroscience, which we abbreviate with FN. And my research is actually, it's a good example, I think, of Fundamental Neuroscience, of FN. I do research on Alzheimer's disease, especially cognitive decline. This is, of course, more psychiatry, psychology. But I focus on the biology and I want to find new cognitive enhancers, so new drugs for Alzheimer's disease.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm Leo Steg. I'm a FN student at the moment and I'm the representative of my year, so that's why I'm here and talking to you guys.
Thanks a lot. Well, Fundamental Neuroscience is one of the specializations of the Research Master in Clinical and Cognitive Neuroscience. Jos, can you elaborate a bit more on the overall idea behind this master?
Well, the overall idea, we started about 10 years ago, and of course the Research Master is a bit bigger now, but back then, I was asked by the psychology faculty to join them to start a more biological program within the Research Master. And this became Fundamental Neuroscience. So actually Fundamental Neuroscience is the interplay between biology, psychology, but also psychiatry and neurology. And back then this was not very common. I'm a good example of this. I'm a biologist by training, but I had to learn about psychology, psychiatry and so on myself. But nowadays with FN actually you will be much more prepared if you enter this research field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. You already mentioned that it's really an interdisciplinary master combining biology, psychology and psychiatry. Can you tell a bit more about the courses and which courses students will follow when studying the program?
Well, the courses will, because both psychologists as well as biologists or everything in between, I would say, can join the program. We had to make the program a bit tailor-cut. So what we do actually is that psychologists first start with an introduction into biology course, and the other way around. So what is it? Biologists will do a psychology course, and after that they will really join the whole program. And every course then represents more or less what we find important as research topics, which are also mostly done here at this university. So we have a course on anatomy, neurodegeneration, neuroinflammation, psychiatry, neurology. All these things come back in the courses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. So it's really a broad field that you look into.
Yeah.
I'm also happy that we have Leo with us here. He's a current student who just started with the program in September this year. Tell us a bit more. How did you find this program and why did you choose for it in the end?
Well, about 2 years ago I found out for myself that I'm quite interested in neuroscience. And when I was at the point last year when I had to decide what should I do as a master, I decided that I want to do a master in the neuroscience. And my bachelor was also quite research orientated, so I wanted to do a research master in neuroscience. Well then, through some thinkings, I started to look in for masters in the Netherlands. So actually I just Googled neuroscience in the Netherlands, and I got some universities that had a program, and I looked through all of them. I looked through the colloquia and the alumni lists, and in the end FN was for me the perfect fit. It has a colloquium which includes really all the important topics that I thought would be important, and also if you have a look on the list of master thesis, so where the people go with this program, you see that they are going all over the world, and I might want to go there as well. So that's how I got there.
Thanks for sharing these insights with us. You already mentioned the curriculum and that you found some interesting topics that are covered in the curriculum. Do you already have like a favorite course that you followed, or are there any courses that come in the future that you look forward to?
Well, to now I had 4 courses, and well, all of them were really nice, and I learned quite a lot. To pick a favorite, I have to say it was a course with yours. Just because, yeah, we are doing what yours was saying before, that we are combining biology and psychology. So we had psychological topics, let's say anxiety and stress and stuff like this, but yeah, we figured out the underlying biological processes. We did this by reading, so all of us had a lot to read, and it was a tough time, but in the end we had tutorials where we sat together and discussed through everything, and then for myself, I always had the feeling afterwards that now I understand what was the main point and how this stuff is regulated in our body and our brain.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot for sharing it with us. Well, what you also managed is to get into the program. You signed up for the program, you were also eventually invited to participate. Maybe you can share with us how the application procedure takes place.
So, well, when you decide that you want to apply, you have, well, first of all, press the apply button, and then I think you will be forwarded to a study link. And when you have an account there and everything, you have to upload some documents. And, well, first of all, you have to select your specialization you want to join. So if you want to do FN, you have to click for FN. And well, then I had to upload things like my CV, my motivation letter, transcript of records, but also I had to prove that I speak and understand the proper English. So I had to do a test because I don't have the proper background to it. And yeah, what else did I have to do? Yeah, and then I had to give in 2 reference letters by some academic people, so those were 2 professors from my bachelor university. And well, after I collected all of this, I submitted it. I did it on the day of the deadline, so it was the 1st of April. And after 2 or 3 weeks, I think, I got a mail which told me that I was shortlisted for the interview. So I was invited to an interview which was performed using Skype because I lived more than 200 kilometers away. And well, then I had the interview with 2 of the staff members, not yours, the 2 others. And yeah, it was actually quite a relaxed talk, and I got some questions about my background, and I really saw that the staff, they care about their selection, so they read through everything, because I got questions about my CV, I got questions about my motivation letter, so they actually checked everything, and they asked me to ask questions as well. So yeah, and in the end I had quite a good feeling after the interviews. So yeah, then I think 3 days or 4 days later I actually got the mail that I was accepted to study here in Maastricht.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining, and we are happy that you came here and that you found our university. Well, Jost, you're on the other side of the selection. You're part of the selection committee.
Yes.
Can you please tell us which factors do you take into consideration when assessing a student?
Well, first of all, I'm not alone. I'm not doing this alone. Like Leo said, there are 2 others, 2 staff members of FN. And yeah, the first thing is, of course, the screening. We get all these letters. We get the letter of motivation. We check everything, the transcript. And what we find most important, actually, during the screening is the motivation. So we really check the motivation letter. Why do you want to study FN? We will believe that you are smart enough, probably. That's the easy part to convince us. But motivation, that's the most important one.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
We received a question from a prospective student who's interested. She would like to learn a bit more about the courses. What do the courses include, and what students do during courses?
Me or Leo, you want?
Any one of you who would like to.
First,
Maybe Jost can start.
First, the business part, I would say. So there's a little bit of a difference between us and the other tracks. So we have courses like every track. Courses are the main building blocks of each program, and a course is about 4 weeks. And also the difference with of our courses with the others is that we have an integral practical part in each course. So we have these topics which we find important. Let's say anatomy, but there's also a practical brain dissection and things like that in it, and staining of brain slices. So it's very integrated. And always in every course there's of course this combination of biology, psychology. I would say studying the biology underlying psychological processes and neurological and psychiatric disorders. That's in a nutshell, but we also have more specific courses like an animal course for people who think they will end up in animal research or using animals in research. So we have more tailored courses. We have electives. Yeah.
Maybe Leo, you can tell a bit more about how the course knowledge is tested. Is it mostly via multiple choice tests? Do you have to give presentations?
Well, so the assignments of the courses, they differ. So each course has his own way of evaluating our students. Some courses, they have an exam, but most of the pure FN courses, they also rely on things like a presentation, on writing assignments, so writing a review paper. We also, within our last course, we prepared a research proposal. So we thought about an idea and how we could sell it to actually get the money for this proposal, and then we presented it before in front of 2 professors. So yeah, I think that it's quite different, but it's actually an applied testing, because in research you have to write papers and you have to present a lot, so this is the right way.
Thanks a lot. Well, Julie, we hope that answer is sufficient for your question. Next to that, you can also take a look at the website. There's the category where it says program outline, and they will find the whole list of courses with short descriptions, so you can take a look at it from home at your own pace. We also got another question from Fiona. She has a question about the application procedure. Basically, it's about the number of applicants. How many students do usually apply, and what are the chances of being admitted? I think Jos can answer that question.
I think the total number of applicants is mostly close to 70, I think, which we have to screen. And out of these 70, about half of them, 35 to 40, we will invite for an interview. And then again, some people will be selected. So, and in the end, on average, the last years, we have about 20 students, a little bit more, a little bit less, but we accept maximally 24, by the way.
Yeah, so the chances are 1 to 3 to get in.
There's always a chance to get in, and my advice to Fiona is don't select yourself. Don't think, am I good enough? I'm not probably good enough. No, don't do that. We will do that. That's our job.
That's good to know. So the responsibility to select is up to the selection committee.
Yeah, absolutely.
We hope that answered your question. Greetings back to Austria, where she's from. We also had some more questions prepared. One of them is about the internship. In the second year of the program, students are doing an internship, and I hope that Jos can share some examples with us.
Indeed, the second year is the internship, and I always say to the students, the sky is the limit in terms of, what do you want to do, in which lab? Well, we will help you, we facilitate you. Because it's a research master, it's a small program, and that means that the staff is mostly senior staff, and they have good contacts. And because the research master are mostly good students, we will help them. They are our ambassadors. So if you want to go to Columbia University, to Cambridge or another great lab, we will help you to get in there. So, but it depends on you. What do you want? Basic research with animals, or working with human material, or more emphasis on psychology, or only computers? It's all possible.
Yeah, so the students themselves have to have the motivation first, and then
again, motivation.
Yeah, you can facilitate it.
Absolutely.
That's clear. Well, doing an internship offers also opportunities to get in contact with research fellows and eventually also set first milestones for a future career, eventually in that field. Career perspectives are always a topic that students find interesting to know more about, so we would like to cover that question as well. Can you talk a bit about the career options that students have?
Yeah, it's a very important point, of course. It's a research master, and that means that we are training you to become a top researcher, and most of the students will end up in a PhD student position, also mostly in academia. But others will go to industry, or I know people who did something completely different. We became a patent attorney, something like that. But I would say 90% of the students has, at the end of the first year, after graduation, they have a job. And I think half of them actually have a job already at graduation. Mostly in the lab where they do the internship, by the way.
These are good prospects.
Yeah.
Leo, do you already know which career path you aim? Do you have an idea about that?
Well, yeah, for sure I will try to go in research, so I will do a PhD, or I will apply for a PhD afterwards, and then, yeah, I'm open. I will see how it's going, because there are many ways and many paths we can go, and yeah, I don't want to restrict myself to something specific now.
Yeah. Yes, wish you good luck with that.
Thanks.
Well, at the moment you are still a student studying here at Maastricht University. How does actually the life of a student look like? Maybe you can pick one day and describe what you're doing.
So, well, the days or the weeks, they heavily depend on the course you are in at the moment, because, well, to go back to the basics, courses have lectures, tutorials, and practicals. But some courses rely more on the tutorials. Tutorials are those sessions where you have this problem-based learning system, so you have to go home and read a lot afterwards and to prepare for each meeting. But other courses, they rely more on pure lectures. So sometimes you have a course where you go to lectures and then you go home and then you're finished with your day. Others you have less hours in the university because you mostly have tutorials. So you go there, but then you have to prepare for the next one. But, however, if this is the question you students or your prospective students ask yourself at the moment, yes, we have plenty of time to do other things. We do sports. Many of us do lots of sports. We go out together, or with our friends, or, well, I think it is a nice course, and it is a tough course, but you will always have the time for yourself.
I think it's also important to find a balance between
for sure.
study time and being cognitively active, and the more physical parts to practice hobbies. Thanks for sharing it with us. One of the aspects that Fundamental Neuroscience prides itself with, and that also Maastricht University is known for, is the small-scale education. How do you experience that in class?
So, well, we are a group of 20 students for the lectures and the practicals, but for the tutorials, so our discussion rounds, we are only 10 people. 10 students sitting on at a table and discussing together. Students from different backgrounds. We have biological backgrounds, psychological backgrounds, but also students from different nationalities. I think from our 20 students, we have 10 or 11 different nationalities. And there you see and get to learn different ways of thinking from different backgrounds and different nationalities, which is really interesting. And for me, I like the system. I really appreciate it here in the Masters that you have time to read into topics you have to, but then again, if you want to focus on something which interests you at the moment, then you just read into this, and you will probably have the chance to tell this to the others in this discussion as well. So, I really like this system, and it's great.
Thanks. We also know from researchers that being really active with the knowledge and talking about it also helps to learn things better and to understand things and to memorize it. So that's also one of the reasons why Maastricht practices the problem-based learning. Well, we are almost at the end of the questions that we have prepared for you. So if you have any more questions, then please let us know. We can answer them live here during the webinar. There's one last question that we are wondering about, and it's about some misconceptions. Were there any things that you were wondering about before coming here, which cleared up in the end? Or
Well, for me, I learned that if you're doing neuroscience and if you're doing research in neuroscience, it's not only about the biology. So what we learned is that, or what I for myself learned is that psychology is an important part, and you have to include it into your research. You have to include the way of thinking in psychological research to your biological research, which is quite new and not as easy as it might sound, but I think here we are getting prepared to do this afterwards in a nice way.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Do you have anything to add to
Yeah,
this?
yeah, really it adds to this because fundamental neuroscience means also fundamental basic research, and some people confuse this with rat research only. They call it the rat track or the animal track, specialisation. But this is not true. We do much more than that. In the end, everything has to translate to humans, of course. And it is possible to work with animals, and we will do that. And there's also an animal course if you want, but we do much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And that also, I want to add also to that there are two tracks or specializations that link to us, and that's drug development and neuropsychology. And to make it a bit more clear, neuropsychology, where they stop with biology, that's where we begin actually. And the drug development, well, we find the targets for the people from drug development to make drugs for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually, that gives you an impression of where FN stands for, more or less, I would say.
Yeah, in the
in the whole program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's clear and good to add.
Yeah.
We have another question from Julie. Excuse me if I don't pronounce your name correctly. She's from Greece, and she would like to know a bit more about the qualities an applicant must have in order to be admitted to the program. Is there any academic background that's most valued, or are there any other qualifications that students should bring?
That's a question for me, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, we look at the grades, but it's not at the GPA, I would say, but it's not the most important one. You need an above average GPA, I would say. Not much, but average and above. And what we really like is your motivation has to be clear why you want this program. And what we also like is that your CV shows that you're open for new things, other things, that you have interest for things. Yeah, this we find very important. Also, we will check the reference letters, which are helpful in a lot of ways, that you have to find to scientists or other people you met during your career who can tell you something about you, how you are as a person, very important, and also as a future scientist. And we put this all in a big blender, I would almost say, and then we make a decision.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah,
might
maybe,
add
maybe.
something, important thing to add for me is I think our group is quite heterogeneous. So we are different, all of us differ in specific ways. So in the end, when you feel like this program might be the right one for you, you should just try it and apply. And I don't think that there are so strict regulations as long as you, as Jos already said, as long as you are motivated and interested in this.
It's quite unique. I mean, we accept psychologists. A lot of biological programs don't do that. But actually, any bachelor life sciences related gives you the opportunity to go for it. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's quite motivating news for Julie. I hope we answered your question sufficiently, and otherwise, please let us know.
And every year we have 1 or 2 people from Greece every year, standard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you will be well represented here. Greetings back to Greece, and we might look forward to see your application for the upcoming year or the years later. Well, our time is almost up. We hope that we could answer all your questions sufficiently, and if you have any further questions, just type them in the comment section. We can also answer them afterwards via the chat. If the live chat is offline, we will still stay here for a couple of minutes to answer them by typing. Thanks a lot for joining us. It was a pleasure to present that program to you. as we mentioned already, Fundamental Neuroscience has its own program homepage. We invite you to take a look at it to learn more about the program outline, the career perspectives, the admission requirements. And eventually we will see you next year in Maastricht. It's nice to see you, and bye-bye.